Videos like this, actually on YouTube, helped me land some of the interviews that I've landed. Hi YouTube, I'm Shay, and today you're watching My Teaching Chronicles. For all the new viewers out there, I'm Shay. I'm currently in my first year as a full-time teacher. I work in a high school in New Jersey. I teach 12th grade AP US Government. Today I'm doing a video about teacher job interviews and tips. So for this video, I actually wrote out some very clear notes. I'm going to be looking to the side just to make sure that I'm tackling everything. I think this is like the most important topics. Videos like this, actually on YouTube, helped me land some of the interviews that I've landed. And while this is my first year full-time teaching, I have been in many teacher interviews, just for different teaching internships that I've had, talking with school leaders at schools that I've student taught in, and other experiences. Also other interview experiences that I think just go for all professions. So yeah, here I am to dive in. 5 teaching job interview tips. Tip number 1, prepare. Prepare, and over triple 85 times prepare. We're doing that by doing so many things. So we're preparing that resume and that cover letter. We're having at least 3 people read over that resume. Definitely. Just to catch any typos you may not have seen, anything. Sometimes reading the same document 5 times, it's just hard to even see anything new. We need those fresh eyes to really get to look at it, and have people read over your cover letters as well. In your cover letter, make sure that you tell a story. So what I always do is this little formula. I have my experiences in my resume. I then build on that a little bit more specifically in my cover letter, and then when I get to the interview, I actually tell a specific story from whatever experience that is, just to keep that consistency so that I feel that it has a positive effect, hearing about what I've done over and over, and it shows how I care or how I feel about it. And in my experience, it's just always been beneficial, definitely something extremely helpful. So for example, I would talk about in my resume, I work with an organization named Pure Health Exchange. They're in New York. They're actually in many cities across the country. Amazing organization. Please look into that. That can be a video for another day. But Pure Health Exchange would absolutely go on my resume. Work with them for 3 years. They would absolutely be on my resume, all over it. That's a lot of my education experience or experience from a classroom. Then in my cover letter, I may connect the missions from Pure Health Exchange to the mission of the school that I'm looking to interview for, the beliefs or similarities between the two. And then in my interview, I would actually tell a story. While I was doing my work at Pure Health Exchange, I got a chance to connect with many students who shared the same identity as me. I got a chance to have some insight in high schools in the Bronx. I got a chance, XYZ, whatever that personal story is, so that they can just see the consistency of where, one, my experience, I have worked in education, and also connecting that experience to the mission and beliefs of the school that I'm looking for. And that brings me to my next side point within this prepare factor. Read the mission statement of the school. Honestly, I would read the mission statement of the school before I even apply to the school, or before I even write the cover letter for the school, absolutely. Because one, you have to make sure that you're aligned with the school's teaching mission. If it's something that's completely off base with your beliefs, I wouldn't personally work somewhere that's completely off base of my beliefs. So that's why it's important to read the mission statement. But also, here's the thing. We're reading the mission statement of the school, and we're putting the language from the mission statement in our cover letter. So when you connect with that mission statement, you say, wow, I also believe in education equity. I also believe in XYZ. If you share those same beliefs, you've probably realized that mission statement in your work experience. You've probably done something in your work experience that connects there. And that's when you talk about whatever it is you've done, and you put that mission statement language in there, because it's true. You're already part of their mission, and you want to be an even bigger part of their mission by working there. That's what we're getting across in that cover letter. That's why reading the mission statement will help us to prepare with that. The other part of my prepare model is the demo lesson. So I know teaching interviews can be different from school to school, state to state, type of school, but there are some schools where they have a demo lesson. So some schools may require you to bring in your own lesson plan and then teach that lesson to the schools. A lot of schools will also send you a lesson that you will then have to study over and teach. Prepare for the demo lesson 25 times over. Read it over, eat it, breathe it, sleep it. Teach it to people actually in real time. I think that that's always also best, making sure that you have a chance to get up there, that when you're in your interview, that is not the first time that you're getting up and performing the lesson per se. You've already performed this lesson 15 times before then. And something that I would also do, so in my experience, a lot of demo lessons are in the field that you should have been familiar with or are for the subject that you plan to teach, but you never know. So I would absolutely research the topic of that lesson just to have a bit more background knowledge. And this is because I've seen demo lessons where the teacher will then get questions, in the moment, content questions about the lesson to see how you'd respond. And just having that background knowledge about your topic would absolutely, just help you look better while you're performing that demo lesson for your potential future school leaders. So that then brings us to tip number 2. Dress for the job you want. This is definitely a tip that I believe goes for all interview, tips in general. Dress business professionally. I believe that business professional dress is the way for any interview. I've interviewed in cafes for Domino's in business professional wear. You are a professional. You're coming there from a professional perspective. Dress for the job that you want. So if that, whatever business professional looks to you, if that's a tie, if that's a blazer, love a blazer, a dress, a business dress, a pantsuit, I definitely veer on the side of overdressing, being overdressed than being underdressed. Different schools have different school cultures. I know, some schools, teachers can wear jeans every day, which is, wow, that's amazing. But I would still be business professional at that job interview regardless. Or I know some schools, they require teachers to dress business professional every single day. And when you're business professional at that interview, you're fitting in. So you just can never go wrong as far as I'm concerned. Dress business professional for the interview. It's a great first impression. You look good, you feel good. We're good, we're good. We're glad. It's gonna be amazing. Tip number 3. You're at this interview, but you are also interviewing your interviewer. So definitely be prepared, have questions for them about the school, questions about their experiences, have questions about maybe your role, a day in the life. I love a day in the life question, Can you tell me a little bit more about a typical day of a teacher at XYZ school? Or when in doubt, what's your favorite thing about working at this school? What are some things that you think that this school could actually change? It would be better if you prepare your own specific tailored questions for each school, maybe aligning with their mission, maybe aligning with their culture. However, it is tailored and something that you actually care about, because these questions show, wow, you're taking this interview seriously. You really took some thought. You didn't just show up here because it was on your calendar. You care about this job position and you're invested. You're going to ask some questions. And I find that you also just learn a lot when you ask those questions. So it definitely gives you some more insight into the position and the place that you're looking to work for, which can help inform your decision, whether you accept an offer or however you decide to go about after completing that interview. Tip number 4, present data. So something that I find is you can just never go wrong with data. By data, I mean demonstrating concrete evidence of your impact as a teacher, right? So you could survey students about their personal opinions and feelings about the class. You can track data of student improvement. Did reading levels change? Did their skills change? Tests, right? Benchmark tests versus the test at the end of the semester. How did the score change? Show data and concrete evidence of your impact as a teacher, just because, one, it's easy, I find, for me. Collecting data helps inform my practice as a teacher. It helps me know, what should I change? What should I keep? But also when you bring that data to an interview, it can be just extremely impressive, because it's not me saying, hey, I'm a great teacher. Hey, I love this mission. It's also me saying, hey, not only am I a great teacher, I'm a great teacher who also has inquired with my students or looked into my impact with my students. And then I'm here to actually show you that impact, show you the work that I've done in the past and the work that I intend to do in the future at your school. So you can never go wrong with data. It can take some time, while you're actually having to collect that data, but again, it'll help improve your teaching practice working with those students. And if you have to bring it to an interview, it'll be great. It'll be amazing. Tip number 5 goes into the teaching portfolio. I know there are entire teacher videos about the teacher portfolio. It's a huge thing. A lot of different things go into a teacher portfolio, and this may depend on the school that you're applying to or the place that you're trying to work. But I definitely think, regardless, for any interview, it would be a great idea to bring the following. So definitely bring some lesson plans that you have written, right? Any lesson plans that you've written yourself, bring those just to help to show, this is my work, this is what I've done, these are the lesson plans. Bring a sample of your students' work. Ideally, that work sample will match with the lesson plan that you bring, again, to show, so this is my plan, and then the student work is showing this is how it played out or what it looked like. And also, last required thing that I think you should bring to an interview is your teaching philosophy statement. So I know some teaching programs require candidates to actually write their teaching philosophy statement, which I think is a great practice. It's important to really establish a teaching philosophy, and having that handy is just going to benefit you. I know some interviews, they may ask you about your teaching philosophy, so if you can give them a copy of your philosophy statement or just have it to reference to while you're discussing your philosophy statement, that would be great. Maybe if you've never written one before, or if you've never gotten the question, the practice of actually writing your teaching philosophy statement will help you prepare for if you're ever approached with that question at an interview. So now when you're at the interview, you know what you're going to say because you've written the statement before, and then you can just give them that statement. I also just find, giving hard copies at an interview is a great practice. I know personally I prefer a hard copy, so if you're talking to me about this lesson and you're looking at the lesson plan, it just helps if I can look over the lesson plan with you while you're talking about it. So having those copies on hand will be able to help the interviewer better understand what you're talking about, and again, you'll make a better impression. Those were my 5 tips for teaching job interviews. That was a lot, but actually there's a lot more that can go into this. If you're interested in another video, maybe a part 2, please feel free to let me know. Always like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you got to this part of the video, you know you're a real one, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Instagram at MyTeachingChronicles to get a closer look at my teaching adventures.